This is just a warning to start this video. I am a little sick right now, so the audio might not be as good as it is in past episodes, but yeah, just a warning, I guess. I don't know. If you look in the dictionary for the definition of the word Chad, it is a piece of waste material removed from card or tape by punching, which, if you think about it, has nothing to do with the country Chad. But you know what does have to do with the country Chad? This channel. As you may know or not know, is that the Republic of Chad has been going through many conflicts throughout its history. In fact, it just got out of its second civil war in 2010. This can all be traced back to Francois Tambale, who was the first president of Chad and eventual dictator of the country, who caused the war between Libya and Chad and then the First Chadian Civil War. But his predecessor was arguably the best governor and military leader of Chad, Felix Iboué, who was instrumental in supporting Free France in Africa, federalizing Chad, and eventually leading the country to decolonization within the newly established French Union after his death. But as you may know, Chad got worse, and with this alternate history, we changed the timeline by giving 10 or so more years on Felix Oboué's life, and with this, what will change? Well, for one, as Governor General of French Equatorial Africa, he would continue his policies of giving indigenous peoples more support and freedoms than any other French colonies, then continue to uphold the Brazzaville Conference and replace French ministers in Chad with local chiefs. Economic-wise, the colony's prime export of cotton would be controlled by the locals and not by the French company Cotton Front, who basically exploited the population. Felix Eboué would change the once harshest and worst colony of France into the opposite of the harshest and worst colony of France. By the 1950s, once strong and vast empires are beginning to collapse, and with former colonies being influenced by ideas of democracy, nationalism, and communism, this would also occur to French colonial empire. In our timeline, France began losing its grip on African colonies around the late 1940s by forcing its colonies to be assimilated to the French culture and language, and by creating organizations such as the French Union and the French Community. This did not work out, and as colonies were gaining independence, France's Fourth Republic fell from the instability caused from the Algerian War, thus causing the complete death of the French colonial empire. In this alternate timeline, though, things go differently with Equatorial Africa, holding strong with the support of France and Charles de Gaulle. And in the 1958 constitutional referendum, Equatorial Africa would also support it just like in our timeline. As an overseas territory, the voter turnout would likely see a rise in the French Internationale and other left-wing parties. This would also be a two-edged sword, though, with communist influence in regions such as the Congo-Brazzaville could break away. But with the 1960s rolling in, Felix Eboué would sadly pass away, and his successor would be Gonchome Saholubi, I butchered that name, so sorry, of the Entente Coalition, and with the vice president most likely being Ahmed Koumalal, I butchered that again, sorry, of the same coalition. Now coming back to our timeline, in the 1960s, Chad went through a civil war caused by the government's abuse of power and discrimination of local customs, and with the backing of the Libyan government, northern regions rebelled. But in this alternate timeline, with actual beneficial leaders, the civil war would likely not occur, and if Libya under Muammar Gaddafi were to still declare war on Chad, it would likely be an overwhelming victory, seeing the country gain territory in the north. I was referring to Chad, not Libya. Also around this time, nations in Western Africa were beginning to create state mergers and unions. Most were unsuccessful in this case, but with Chad joining the Sahel-Benin Union, it would encourage economic growth and Pan-Africanism, resulting in stronger and expanding federations in West Africa. This union might be a footnote in history or long-lasting, but it's hard to tell. This is as far as I'll go, but thank you for watching, and a special thanks to Goober Grace for suggesting this. And bye.